The Canon 7200 f2.8 IS has been a staple lens in photographers and videographers' bags for years now. With awesome image quality, solid stabilization, a great focus range and snappy autofocus, all at a great price, it's obvious why. So when Sigma announced their new 7200 f2.8 DG/OS HSM Sport, I was extremely interested to see how it stacked up against its Canon competition, given its attractive price point of only £950 ex VAT, which is nearly half of its Canon counterpart. When it comes to specs, the Sigma looks very promising. It is weather sealed and built extremely well. It is a tad on the heavy side, weighing in at 1.8 kilograms, which is a decent amount heavier than the Canon 7200 f2.8 IS Mark III, which weighs in at about 1.5 kilograms. The lens is constructed of 24 elements in 22 groups, with 9 FLD elements and 1 SLD element, so no wonder this lens is so heavy. This lens has an 11-bladed iris, a front filter thread of size of 82mm, and is available in Canon EF and Nikon F mount. It also has 3 AF lock buttons on the lens and a toggle switch for enabling the selection of 2 AF modes, with priority given to either automatic or manual override focusing and full manual focus. The lens has a close focus of 1.2 meters, but you can set limiters on the lens to change that to 3 meters or even a custom mount using Sigma's handy dandy USB dock. This dock will allow you to update your firmware and adjust your lens's back focus at 4 different focal lengths. On the lens you have C1 and C2. These are 2 different custom setting modes. Within each custom setting you can change 3 different parameters, the first being AF customization. In this you can change between 3 different modes, one for speed, one for smooth performance designed for more natural looking autofocus for video, and one standard profile in between both. You can also limit your focus range, so if you're shooting a subject where you know you will be a certain distance from it, you can restrict the close focus down so the lens doesn't hunt for subjects in the closer distances of your focus. This is a great feature if you're doing obs doc work or sports. Lastly, you have 3 different OS settings. Dynamic view mode, which is designed for fast image acquisition. Moderate view mode, which is the mode designed for video as it has a little bit of camera shake and it's less jittery and more fluid. And then standard, which is a hybrid of the two. When it comes to bokeh, both lenses suffer from lemon-shaped bokeh when wide open. However, the Sigma is a little bit better controlled. When stopped down to f4, this effect is much better and the bokeh is rounder. Both lenses have extremely clean bokeh with only very minimal edge definition and green fringing. The Sigma's bokeh has a bit more character to it with less defined edges and slight texture, whereas the Canon's is a bit smoother. Overall, both lenses render bokeh very well. With flare, we shot wide open and stopped down to f4. The main characters you can see changing between the 2 different apertures are the amount of veiling glare as well as the size of the optical aberration on the right side of frame. When comparing the 2 lenses, Canon has a little bit more veiling glare but does have a much nicer flare. It's a lot softer without as many optical aberrations going on, which gives it a more pleasing look in my opinion. Both lenses handle distortion very well with only very minor bowing. As you would expect from these tele zooms, breathing is not their strong point. Both lenses suffer from extreme breathing at every focal length, but to be honest, this is to be expected with stills lenses. Both lenses are designed for full frame sensors, but the Sigma showcases a bit more light loss towards the edges of frame. The Canon controls it a little bit better with less light loss. As soon as you stop down, both lenses control it much better. Both lenses render detail extremely well. On the projector, both lenses render 200 line pairs in the center wide open across their focal range and hold that sharpness out to the corners decently well. I would say that the Canon is a touch sharper, but only very slightly. One thing I did notice was the Canon was a lot more off-focal than the Sigma. Overall, both lenses render detail really well. Wide open, both lenses have very minor CA, but you can notice some. The Sigma's aberrations shift a little more purple, whereas the Canon's are more green. I would also say, in the center, the Canon is just a touch cleaner, but this will only be noticed by pixel peeping. When stopped down to f4, the aberrations are much more controlled on both the lenses, and I would say that the Sigma is cleaner once you are at f4. But overall, both lenses handle aberrations very well. Another thing I noticed was the color difference between the 2 lenses. Straight out of camera, the Sigma shifts a little purple and the Canon shifts a little green. When you're scrubbing between clips, this is extremely noticeable. We also did a speed comparison between the 2 lenses. We shot these tests using a 1DX Mark II. I think the Sigma is a little faster than the Canon, but both are incredibly fast. Overall, the The Sigma 70-200 is an incredibly compelling option for people wanting excellent image quality, great image stabilization, and an excellent array of customization features. Let us know which lens you prefer in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed.